The bomb actually came through my door right next to my head, and it cut me in half from the left corner of my temple down through my jaw, and then took my gunner's legs off, and then took the top of my truck commander's head off.
Of the more than 3 million U.S. troops deployed to fight the war on terror, almost 7,000 have been killed in action.
Everything just went quiet and got still. And it was almost like being in slow motion.
I just recall feeling the intense heat wave.
Your body's telling you gotta have fluids, because I'm losing pints and pints and pints of blood. I grabbed the guy by the arm, I said, I need some water. I'm done fighting, man. I went to sleep and I didn't wake up till 2 months later.
For the troops that do survive, the war isn't over. It's just beginning. Each day, 22 veterans will take their own lives. But this time, the battle's not for the field. It's for their home, their family, their sanity, for that second chance. You see, it's the hottest fires that make the strongest steel. Add courage, self-sacrifice, and a will that will not surrender. That's what it takes to be a hero. It's not about how hard they fell. It's more about how far they'll go to get back up. We are Operation Second Chance, helping heroes move on.
Avid hunter and host of Team Legend Outdoors, Donnie Kirby has worked with Operation Second Chance over the years, providing veterans with guided hunts. This past year, Donnie got a call from a friend about a local veteran who had never been turkey hunting.
I've known Donnie Kirby pretty much my whole life. We both grew up close together just outside of Williamsport, and I've always known Donnie as an outdoorsman. I remember him coming into Banzoff's butcher shop with some of the largest rack buck that I had ever seen in my lifetime, and I was always curious as to how he was able to be successful hunting. And I knew Donnie just from watching Team Legends on Antietam Cable, which I often do. I watch the show all the time, and just watch what he did there with taking kids and youth out for outstanding hunting experiences, and I thought I'd give him a call and ask if he'd be interested in taking out a veteran.
This portion of Team Legend Outdoors is sponsored by...
Welcome to Hafer's Gunsmithing, your one-stop shop for all of your firearm needs. Whether it's your first purchase or having Hafer's on-site gunsmiths design and build a completely custom gun, their staff is knowledgeable and experienced to help you make the right purchase. Not only will you find an incredible selection of guns in stock ready for purchase, but also all of the supplies and accessories necessary. Plus, Hafer sells and installs a variety of suppressors. Hafer's Gunsmithing on the National Pike near Hagerstown Speedway. Above precision, beyond accurate. That's Hafer's. AC&T, the region's premier propane and heating fuel supplier. Our #1 goal is your complete satisfaction. Rusli Tire Company on the National Pike in Hagerstown, serving the area's tire needs for over 50 years. The Mulch Man. We have the scoop for all of your mulch needs. Come visit us at our new location, 16635 Industrial Lane in Williamsport, and connect with us on Facebook and online at themulchman.com, or give us a call at 301-582-4188.
Interstate Batteries was green before it was cool. We've been selling and recycling batteries in the four-state area for more than 30 years, and we've recently expanded our sales and recycling services for all battery types, no matter the size, chemistry, or application. Green is more than our color, it's our mission.
Let the pros at Interstate Batteries of Potomac Valley help you with your battery needs. See them on Industrial Lane in Williamsport or call 301-223-1330. Hafer's Gunsmithing on the National Pike in Hagerstown. For 20 years, they've been creating custom guns and performing common repairs on all your firearms. Above precision, beyond accurate. That's Hafer's Gunsmithing. Come to the Williamsport American Legion Post 202, where members and their guests are always welcome. Tuesday night is our fried chicken buffet. Eat all you want, pay one price. And don't forget about our banquet room, perfect for your next gathering. The Williamsport American Legion Post 202. Stop in for dinner, drinks, or for your next event.
I'm Jim Joy of Team Legend Outdoors. Today I'm here with Ryan Weaver and Mark Pine of Affordable Rental Property Management and McIntosh Realtors.
Well, I've been a realtor for about 20 years. My nephew Ryan and I started a property management company, and now we currently manage over 300 units.
I use these guys for all my real estate needs. Give these good old boys a chance for yours.
And just mention Team Legend Outdoors, and we will either manage your property for free for 3 months, or we will purchase a home warranty on any sale.
My name is James Warner. I fought in the Vietnam War. I was an officer in the Marine Corps. I served at the Marine base at Chu Lai in the Republic of Vietnam for 6 months. And then I served in the Hanoi Hilton for 5.5 years.
Well, it's important to me to give back to veterans because our country is what it is today because of our veterans. I come from a veteran family. My dad was a World War II veteran. Was one of the first waves to storm the beaches of Normandy. And he did the March to St. Lo. He was a member of the 29th, and my dad fought continuously from, I believe, around June 6th to toward the end of July to capture St. Lo. And my dad was very, very humbled about his experience, just like Mr. Warner is. And my dad was just honored to serve and protect our country. And so to give back to a veteran, there's just nothing like it. There's not a better feeling.
Because the Navy had sent me to electronics school, when I got to my squadron in Vietnam, the squadron commander, who had been my squadron commander in the States also, assigned me to be the avionics officer. So I had 120 men working for me. And in addition to taking care of avionics, that's a 12-hour-a-day job, I had to fly. And sometimes I flew as many as 5 missions. And that doesn't sound like much because many of those were 45-minute missions. But in a F4, 45 minutes in an F4 is a day's work. And doing that 5 times in a day is 2 weeks worth of work. My butt was really dragging at that time. My roommate, who wrote the schedule, came to me the day before, October the 12th, 1967, and there was one pilot who was very, very weak pilot. He was not very good. And nobody wanted to fly with him, and the guy who was his regular backseater had extended for 6 months. And the deal was, if you would voluntarily extend in Vietnam for 6 months, you got 30 days free leave and free passage anywhere you wanted to go in the world. So he was home in Texas. And my roommate was complaining he couldn't find anybody who wanted to fly with this pilot. Remember, they tell you, don't volunteer for anything. I said, oh, hell, Dick, you can schedule me to fly with him. I'll fly with anybody. So he woke me up the next morning and said, it's Friday the 13th. You're scheduled to fly with this guy. You're going over North Vietnam, so you're probably going to get shot down. When you get to Hanoi, I want you to say hello to my old friend, Warrant Officer John Frederick. We were briefed about the shortcomings of the hydraulic system in the F4. And the briefing included this warning: if pulling off target, especially if you go below 3,000 feet, and you're pulling off target, and the PC1, that's the warning light for there's 2 hydraulic systems in the F4, but they're side by side, and they use the same reservoir. And that's the only way you can control the flight surfaces is with the hydraulics. So if the PC1 light comes on, as you're pulling off target, it means you've taken a hit. And if you're over the north, continue a climbing turn until your nose comes to 050, level off, and then as soon as the light comes on, there's a little red button right to the left of the throttles. Push that in, that causes an explosive charge under the plane to blow everything off the plane. That way you're aerodynamically clean. And I thought everybody understood this, and as we're walking out to the airplane, the pilot says, show me on the map where this jettison area is. And I started thinking, Friday the 13th, and this guy the jettison area is the whole world. Wherever you are at the time, that's where you do it. And we get up north. We were diverted we were supposed to be hitting artillery, but they found a tracked vehicle, a tank, and they asked us to hit the tank. And as we're pulling, my pilot got so excited that we bottomed out at about 1,300 feet, and sure enough, the PC1 light came on. And I said, hit, jettison all now. He says, oh no, I've still got 6 bombs, I'm gonna make another pass. And we'd been told, you can't use the stick because you're gonna drain all the hydraulic fluid off. Just get your wings level, go out to sea. The reason 050 is because at 090, you would be headed out straight over if you're over the south, you'd be headed straight for the hospital ship. And you don't want to eject over the hospital ship. Anyway, before he could get established in a bombing run, the plane went out of control. He ejected. I've been told by the people who make the Martin Baker ejection seat that they had to redo this was the B model of the F4. In the later models, they had to redo the ejection seat sequence because in the B models, they had learned that if the front seat went out first, the rear seat couldn't get out. So by God's grace, I'm the only one that they knew of that ever got out when the front seater went, but I did get out and was captured.
With over 50,000 square feet of merchandise, chances are Labors has what you need. Chairs, Labors has hundreds. You're welcome to come in and try before you buy. Filing cabinets, Labors has hundreds from verticals to laterals. Desks, cubicles, bookcases, conference tables, and more, and all at up to 70% off. Browse Labors' great selection of global office furniture, and they're happy to announce that they now carry FlexSteel furniture. Quality home furnishings at Labors' warehouse prices. It's all under one roof. Labors on Vasel Boulevard in Hagerstown. Family owned and operated for over 40 years.
For years, Hagerstown Moped and Hobby has taken care of the area's 2 and 4 wheels needs. From scooters and mopeds by Tao and Kimco, to fun ATV, UTV, and go-karts from Kimco, SSR Motorsports, and Hammerhead Off-Road. And Hagerstown Moped remains the area's leader in RC cars and accessories from Traxxas and others. For the outdoor sportman, they've got all of your shotgun reloading supplies needed for sport shooting. Hagerstown Moped and Hobby, serving fun in all types of ways for 35 years. South Burhans Boulevard in Hagerstown.
Simple Pleasures, your one-stop head shop featuring one of the biggest selections of glass from top brands such as Rohr, Cheech & Chong, Medi-Cali, and more. With competitive prices from low-end to top-end glass and accessories, and a one-of-a-kind blacklight room with UV and glow-in-the-dark products and heady glass from Kevin Beecher of Higher Mountain and other local artists. All this and much more at Simple Pleasures, located in Old Orchard Shopping Center in Hagerstown, Maryland.
Weller's Collision Center. Involved in an accident? See Weller's Collision Center on South Edgewood Drive in Hagerstown. Bone Break Alignment and Tire. Featuring the lowest installed price on major brand tires in the area, featuring Continental, General, Michelin, BF Goodrich, and Uniroyal. Exceptional service since 1947. William Gower & Son. Visit Gower's for all of your outdoor fall needs. Located just off Interstate 81 in Williamsport, Maryland. Your phone didn't charge and your car won't start. Let Interstate Batteries in Williamsport, Maryland restart your day. Third Base Tavern in Williamsport, Maryland. Your last stop before home.
Rocky's Pizza of College Plaza. Visit Rocky's for New York-style pizza on Robinwood Drive in Hagerstown, Maryland.
Welcome to Hafer's Gunsmithing, your one-stop shop for all of your firearm needs. Whether it's your first purchase or having Hafer's on-site gunsmiths design and build a completely custom gun, their staff is knowledgeable and experienced to help you make the right purchase. Not only will you find an incredible selection of guns in stock ready for purchase, but also all of the supplies and accessories necessary. Plus, Hafer sells and installs a variety of suppressors. Hafer's Gunsmithing on the National Pike near Hagerstown Speedway. Above precision, beyond accurate. That's Hafer's.
From the ground to the glass, HNH Well Drilling has all of the tri-state area's water needs. From drilling your well to using the Earth's energy for your geothermal heating and cooling needs. Service for your well pump and installation, water softening, salts, UV lights, and winter weather salt supplies. Give them a call. Estimates are always free.
In 1969, they thought I was trying to escape. And the political officer interrogated me from the 5th of May until the 15th of May. Those dates are important. And on the 15th of May, I decided, I couldn't persuade him that I was not trying to escape, so I decided to play a dirty trick on him. I would make up the most preposterous story of an escape attempt that I could possibly imagine. and his seniors would realize that I had hoodwinked him, and he would get in trouble. And sure enough, I made up this story. Steal an entrenching tool, that's a little shovel that every soldier in the world gets, and chop a hole in the ceiling and go out through the roof at night. And he, sure enough, I knew he would believe me because the political officer was really stupid. And he did, and for 3 days they put me back in my cell, and on the third day, on the 19th, this is, unless you were there, you won't understand this. My friend Chuck Boyd, who eventually became an Air Force 4-star, once said to me, you know, we're the only people in the world who can say, we honestly say that we were not afraid in combat. I said, what do you mean by that, Chuck? He said, well, when they shot SAMs at me and I got chased by MiGs and I saw flak going off around me and tracers, I thought I was afraid, but I know now I was excited, just excited. Because fear is what you feel when you hear keys outside the door and it's not time to eat. And it's first thing in the morning on May the 19th, I hear keys outside the door, and I can't even begin to tell you how afraid that made me. And sure enough, they took me over to the interrogation room, and they didn't ask me any questions until the next day. All they did is just work on me to get me to prepare me to answer questions. And I was kneeling on concrete. This is about 6 in the morning on May the 20th. I was kneeling on concrete, holding a stool over my head. It's a hot May day, and even though it's early in the morning, I was drenched in sweat. And you know how you get when you exercise and go beyond your limits, your muscles start to tremble. And the officer, we called him Louis the Rat because he looked like a rat and he smelled bad. And Louis the Rat came into me and started shaking his finger at me and says, you must tell me how you communicate with the Americans in another camp. And I said, I don't even know what that means. And he laughed and said, don't be surprised. So I put the stool down, got up and sat on it. He said, you must kneel down. I said, no, look, if you want to torture me, you do it. I'm not going to help you. So for the next 4 months, he asked me how I communicated with men in another camp, and I never knew why he was asking this. I found out 2 years later, in another camp 25 miles away, on May the 10th, right dead between the 5th and 15th of May, on May the 10th, 2 guys escaped by stealing an entrenching tool, chopping a hole in the ceiling, going out through the roof. And I knew that there was no lie I could come up with to cover. That's not what the normal drill is. Listen to the interrogator, so he'll tell you what he will believe. And then make up a lie to cover what he will believe and tell him that lie. But I said that there's nothing I can do. I'm dead. There's not any way I can possibly answer this. So all summer long, he tried to get me to tell him how I communicated with guys in another camp. And in communist boot camp, I'm sure they told him that if you bend people far enough, eventually they'll give in. But I couldn't give in, so that was impossible. So all I did is wait. And finally, on September the 3rd, Ho Chi Minh died. And because of fuss being raised by the families back in the States about our treatment, the new president apparently said, okay, quit systematic torture. And so they kept interrogating me, but they didn't do anything to me. And finally, on November the 10th, they put me in a solitary cell. I was out in a box. On June the 1st, I was put in this little box that sat out in the sun. And I stayed there till November 10th. And finally, December 10th, I got put back in with my cellmates.
Lovers of the outdoors look no further than Western Maryland Sportsman's Club for a variety of family outdoor activities. Located on 2,000 acres of private property in Sharpsburg, the club provides its members with a 200-yard rifle range, 50-yard handgun range, and 1,500 acres of huntable land. Members can also enjoy their private club bar, weekly bingo tournaments, all-you-can-eat crab feeds, steak dinners, and gun raffles. All this and much more at Western Maryland Sportsman's Club on Dam No. 4 Road in Sharpsburg, Maryland. Mountain Laurel Taxidermy, located on Mountain Laurel Road in Boonesboro, Maryland. Williamsport Hardware and Tackle, located on North Conococheague Street in Williamsport, Maryland. The avid sportsman should look no further than Hardcore Custom Archery for bows and accessories, custom strings, bow tuning, balancing, and much more. Those looking to hone their skills will enjoy our 20-yard indoor range, and those looking for a fun night out with friends and family will enjoy our weekly ping pong tournaments every Friday night at 7 p.m. Fulfill all your archery needs at Hardcore Custom Archery in Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. No matter the size, chemistry, or application, green is more than our color, it's our mission.
Let the pros at Interstate Batteries of Potomac Valley help you with your battery needs. See them on Industrial Lane in Williamsport or call 301-223-1330.
Prestigious Homes can make your dream home a reality. Whether you're looking for a custom-built home, total home improvement, remodeling, additions, roofing, or decks and porches, Prestigious Home will provide the quality of work you expect. Prestigious Homes. Build what you want.
Unlike other Vietnam veterans, Vietnam POWs were really given a very warm welcome home. People went out of their way to be nice to us. I enrolled in the University of Michigan in September. I got out of the hospital I was released from the hospital in August. We got to the hospital in March. I was an outpatient at the Great Lakes Naval Hospital until the end of August. And then early in September, I enrolled as a sophomore at the University of Michigan. Went through law school, graduated from law school in 1978, practiced law in Michigan until about 1982 or 82. I came down here because I'd lived with John McCain in prison for 2 years. And John McCain was then the liaison in the U.S. Senate for the U.S. Navy. He was on active duty. And he told me that in Washington, D.C., if you've got a pulse, you can do well. And since I had a pulse, I decided, well, I'm not doing well here in Michigan, so I'll go down to Washington. I came down here, I got a job, and eventually I met my wife, we got married, we had a child, and we moved in 1982 to Rohrersville in western Maryland. And I took up hunting. I had not, as a child, I hadn't done that. There just weren't any circumstances. I didn't know anybody who had property. I didn't have guns. But I took up hunting out here. I love hunting. I haven't hunted much in the last few years because there have been health problems and other things. But in May of this year, Donnie Kirby invited me to go on a turkey hunt. I was ready and eager to go, because I'd never hunted turkey before because, among other things, I didn't know how to call them. Well, I met him when it was still dark. It was west of Hagerstown. That's all I can tell you. I can't remember. I think it's off 40 west of Hagerstown, but I don't remember. And we got into the stand. He told me I had a net so I could cover up my face because I didn't paint my face, and I wore camouflage. And he showed me his shotgun, showed me how to work it. It was I'm not good with shotguns. I can't hit clay birds even, but he showed me what to do. And he went in he set up a camera, and he went I think he was in the tent next to me, the stand next to me, calling. And we heard turkeys in the woods, and it took a long time, but eventually a turkey started answering him. And I looked out, and here was a really, really big tom turkey coming. It was behind some brush, and I waited till it got out in the open, and then I shot it. It dropped right there. I put the bead on the shotgun on his head, pulled the trigger, and blam, he was down.
Yes, sir, just like when I took Mr. Warner right there, and he got that turkey, and the excitement was in his face and stuff, and his eyes, that day, it just made it for me that day. I I was on a high all day long, and that's the kind of highs I like. Just like out there, you take somebody out to get their first deer, turkey, squirrel, whatever it is, that's something that they'll never, ever forget in their lifetime.
Veterans Day to me means, well, everything, virtually. The freedoms that I endured today, the ability for me to be able just to go about my country freely, and it's just one of the, well, if not the, one of the most celebrated days that our country has, and I love participating in our Veterans Day activities, and it just means all of our freedoms that we have today.
I started out as a normal American, and somehow I got turned around and became an extreme leftist. And then, by God's grace, I started, long ago I'd learned to read, so I picked up books and read them, and everything I read told me, you've really made a bad mistake by being a leftist. Communism is really bad. And by the time I quit college and went in the service, I really had a profound hatred of communism. And to tell you the truth, I still hate communism and I hate socialism. I think they're stupid and they obviously don't work. Never compromise with evil, never give a damn inch to evil, and you're never going to defeat it, but you can stop it.
If we look to the answer as to why for so many years we achieved so much, prospered as no other people on earth, it was because here in this land we unleashed the energy and individual genius of man to a greater extent than has ever been done before. Freedom and the dignity of the individual have been more available and assured here than in any other place on earth. The price for this freedom at times has been high, but we have never been unwilling to pay that price. Those who say that we're in a time when there are no heroes, they just don't know where to look. The sloping hills of Arlington National Cemetery, with its row upon row of simple white markers bearing crosses or stars of David, they add up to only a tiny fraction of the price that has been paid for our freedom. Each one of those markers is a monument to the kind of hero I spoke of earlier. Their lives ended in places called Belleau Wood, the Argonne, Omaha Beach, Salerno, and halfway around the world on Guadalcanal, Tarawa, Pork Chop Hill, the Chosin Reservoir, and in 100 rice paddies and jungles of a place called Vietnam. Under one such marker lies a young man, Martin Treptow, who left his job in a small-town barber shop in 1917 to go to France with the famed Rainbow Division. There on the Western Front, he was killed trying to carry a message between battalions under heavy artillery fire. We're told that on his body was found a diary. On the flyleaf, under the heading, My Pledge, he had written these words: America must win this war. Therefore I will work, I will save, I will sacrifice, I will endure. I will fight cheerfully and do my utmost as if the issue of the whole struggle depended on me alone. We must realize that no arsenal or no weapon in the arsenals of the world is so formidable as the will and moral courage of free men and women. It is a weapon our adversaries in today's world do not have. It is a weapon that we as Americans do have. Let that be understood by those who practice terrorism and prey upon their neighbors. As for the enemies of freedom, those who are potential adversaries, they will be reminded that peace is the highest aspiration of the American people. We will negotiate for it, sacrifice for it. We will not surrender for it now or ever. We are Americans.